everyone. Brandon Jones here, joined by Michael Damiani, who's played a fair amount of MMOs in his day. And a new MMO got announced, and I am interested in it, as I am interested in a lot of MMOs, as potentially Michael Damiani is as well. And I'm always sad when an MMO gets announced because I think maybe that's something that I want to check out. So I'm at this game pitch, and they start throwing out terms like Animal Crossing and Breath of the Wild and Minecraft and a lot of things that I'm interested in. And I was like, okay, yeah, this could potentially be something that I would definitely want to check out. And I just dropped this trailer on Damiani moments ago. What are your initial impressions of Palia from a new team, Singularity 6? This is like a project that they're really proud of. I think it took them about 3 years.
Well, I like the aesthetic. I always like colorful, more fantasy-looking settings than the gritty, realistic, or even like the grays and stuff like that. So that definitely caught my eye. It does look very samey or familiar. Like it looks like we're just playing Knockout City. Like models look like they would fit in there, like Fortnite style, like almost like that Ari and the Secret of Seasons that Brad just reviewed. I did a preview for last year. It's it's a nice look, but it didn't look too distinct. What did catch my eye is that it looks very much like a sim more than an MMO than anything, at least from the footage I saw. It's about, getting resources, like, gardening, building your own home, living in this village. So I have a lot of questions about what else is there to it, or is it just like is it really just Animal Crossing? Hey, I'm going to come visit your part of the world, and I get to see your house, and we help build your house, and that's really it. Is there any adventure to this?
Right.
That stuff, yeah. Quest,
Yeah, and it's interesting. That's kind of why I wanted to bring you on, because I don't know if this is a game that you would play or not play. I don't know if you would have the time to invest or even check out like a beta, because I think later this summer they're going to have that. And I was interested, and they were kind of surprised that I was interested. But I'm curious whether an MMO can be interesting to someone at launch. Once they announce it, if they don't get into those specific details. Essentially, their easy pitch was, this is if Animal Crossing was an MMO, if you could play just a cozy thing. And I was kind of thinking initially is this maybe like Valheim? And it's this is like Valheim if Valheim was like a theme park, if everything was just very, very cozy, very Sims-esque, very colorful, playful. And I'm looking for weapons. I feel bad, but I'm during the whole presentation, I'm just okay, when do we have, and a bow and arrow was the only thing. And in their press release, they talk about hunting. They say big game hunting. And it's okay, so I think that might be, you can also bug catch, you can fish, you can cook, and you can decorate. You can obviously build your house, and you can decorate outside too, and farm and stuff, but I don't know how extensive that gets when people ask questions like, all right, we have guilds. Can we have a guild plot? And how do we have houses next to each other? And they were like, we've talked to early testers, and they all seemed interested in those features. And it's okay, so you don't have that? And you're
of course.
So they were being kind of cagey. How important is it for you to know all this? You see them questing out at the end of the trailer, to know really what I'm going to be doing, or can an aesthetic be enough to sell you on at least just checking a game out?
I mean, I do need more details. I don't think it needs to go and be a full-blown RPG or anything like that. I think what I need to see is that, first of all, the premise. I mean, that's one of the biggest criticisms against Animal Crossing is the online experience. It's such a hurdle to get in with Nintendo's online subscription service, where something like this, where it's a nice large population that can interact with each other, they already got a head start on that element. And I think maybe that's where they're going to capitalize on is scale. Much bigger world. It looks like it's way bigger than any Animal Crossing island. Lots more people. Yeah, you're getting a lot of people. Looked like it probably is easier to get in and out and easier to contribute to projects. It's more about the activities related to that, because even Animal Crossing has that problem. Even with its seasonal updates, they're just not engaging enough to someone like me to keep me coming back. It's I'll play it for a month, and then I've had my fill. So what is this going to do differently that's going to keep me hooked?
And that's the catch-22, is they're it's this kind of cozy vibe where you make your home and then you hang out. And it's well, I'm not going to hang out too long if there's not a lot to do. If I'm, can maybe customize, other stuff with the community, and then when that stuff's built, I'm kind of done. And I just saw some friends, hung out with some friends of mine, and they showed me some work they had done in Valheim, and they've created a metropolis, whereas I'm they would run out of stuff to do from what I've seen so far in Palia in 4 days. but it is very charming. It is very, like, Huber would definitely say cozy. I could see this as something like Huber would be excited about, maybe not actually make time for, but as common as this aesthetic is, as much as it does look like a lot of other things, I think it's like this weird kind of Fortnite Breath of the Wild combo. It is welcoming, at least to me, and so it's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind. They also didn't talk about a pricing structure at all, which was like, yeah, that's maybe something important, to know. But if it was free to play, I wouldn't mind hopping in and just taking a peek.
I expect it to be free to play, but one thing I forgot is when I was looking over the trailer you showed me, the glider stuff. So I do think there's going to be a healthy amount of actual exploration. Mm-hmm. I think that might be where the depth is in charting courses out into the unknown wilderness to find more precious resources, rare gems, rare materials to craft better homes. And maybe that plays into the economy as well. If I want to trade, like, hey, you found this cave over here with a bunch of minerals in there. I need that. It's like, well, all right, let's set up a contract. I'll start selling. Like, I wonder if it'll go like that. Like, that could be a pretty good hook, I think, if they can and tap into that a little bit.
They really seemed. What was weird was they didn't have a lot of information. What wasn't weird was the team. We were all on a Zoom call, and they were like, not shaking, but they were very excited to announce this game, and so you could feel that energy, like, even coming through a Zoom call, which is tough. And so I was like, okay, they're really passionate about this. They're just, like, all the people on the call, like, asked the really tough questions right away. Like, I was the first person to just be like, how do I pay for this? And they were like, well, we're not really getting into those details. So I was like, okay. But they didn't really say specifically how you're going to unlock a bunch of stuff. They talk about having, like, thousands of customization options, and so it sounds like something they can maybe dodge and weave depending on, like, what type of community they end up getting or how much interest there is, and then they can, like, tailor that type of specific content. Reminds me a little bit of, like, WildStar. I remember had exploration-focused paths that you could do. Like, you could legitimately level up a character by just running around. I remember Guild Wars 2 had that. And so it's neat. I remember there's been MMOs in the past that have has like a platforming component, and with, like, building stuff, it would be neat if, like, yeah, you kind of got to partner with other people and build to survive or kind of make your way through. I have high hopes. They were just we didn't get a lot of details.
Yeah, if they allow you to build entire towns, because it kind of teased that at one part. I mean, you were building your own home, but it looked like there was, like, a rundown, like, sign at one part, and I was like, is that, like, an abandoned town? I was like, man, if you can, like, have something that in depth and, like, running your own town, what if you, like, I got to recruit you, Jones. I want you to be, in charge of my, my general store over here, and then, like, and then Huber's gonna be in charge of the butcher store over here. Like, when you log in, it's like you got your dailies to do at the butcher shop. Like, I could see why they the potential here, and the world does look very good. And I at very least, I want to run around in it and check it out. So they got that going for it. So that's a pretty big hurdle.
And, even just at the very least, when you first start Animal Crossing, like, when we all first get, like, the brand new Animal Crossing, it's just like, what do you have, oranges? Oh my God, can I have oranges? And, like, a couple of months later, the oranges aren't going to be that big of a deal, but just in that moment. And so I can see, like, new players coming in, and I'm like, yeah, welcome to my house. At least I have all this cool stuff, and I can build stuff for you to get you started. I imagine just based on what I saw, they'll probably have that. But curious game. Always, whenever somebody says the words MMO, I'm always like, go on. A brave thing to do, sir. This is a tough market to really find, a bunch of people. And while this does kind of have a crowd-pleasing, mobile-esque vibe to it, where I could just see, like, in a Roblox kind of way, I could just see, like, a bunch of kids, like, getting way into this. But what kind of community specifically they find and how much stuff they add on to the game after the fact, we'll see. I wanted to check it out. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're just going to kind of have an open pre-alpha thing. And I was like, get me in this. Like, if you want me to talk about this game, let me go hunt some stuff. Big game hunting? Are you kidding? Cooking competitions? Let's do it. But yeah, again, nothing that I would expect you to be spending a lot of time with. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get access at some point. Thank you for checking this out at announcement.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, there'll be many more announcements later this month. Stay tuned, everybody.